The truth. No one told you. There's a type of man women can't forget. He's not the one who sends dozens of messages a day. He's not the one who cancels his plans to be available. He's not the one who begs for attention or adjusts his entire life around her, as if he were a satellite orbiting a distant planet. This man possesses something most will never have: absolute self-mastery. And that, my friend, is what separates ordinary men from rare men. Female obsession doesn't stem from expensive gifts, rehearsed words, or exaggerated displays of affection. It arises when a woman realizes she's facing someone who doesn't need her to feel complete, someone who doesn't bow down, someone who doesn't trade their worth for crumbs of attention. This awakens something primal in her, the desire to conquer what isn't easily given. Have you ever noticed that women desire most what they can't control? How many times have you seen a desperate man, available 24 hours a day, being treated as a second option? And how many times have you seen that distant man, occupied with his own life, being pursued as if he were the last man on the planet? The difference isn't in the physique, it's not in the money, it's in the posture, in the way he handles himself. Today you will learn what the ancients already knew. True seduction isn't in what you say, but in what you don't need to say, in what you don't need to do, in the space you occupy simply by existing without asking permission. Before continuing, tell me in the comments, how old are you and from which city are you watching? And if this content makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel now. You are about to discover truths that most men will never have the courage to apply. Let's begin. The trap of the common man. The first major flaw that destroys male attraction is simple: placing the woman at the center of your life, as if she were the sun and you, just a planet without its own light. This may seem romantic in movies, but in reality, it's the fastest way to be forgotten. When you revolve your life around her, you convey two deadly messages. First, my life without you is worthless. Second, I'm willing to erase myself to keep you around. And women, no matter what they say, aren't attracted to men who erase themselves. They are attracted to men who have their own universe. Think about it. Have you ever seen a man who abandons his workouts, his projects, his friends, everything, just because a woman entered his life? That man becomes invisible. Because he stopped being interesting. He stopped being unpredictable. He became predictable, controllable, disposable. The rare man understands that his purpose is non-negotiable. His mission, his goals, his personal evolution, all of this comes first. Not because he doesn't care about her, but because he knows that a man without purpose has nothing to offer besides emotional dependence. And emotional dependence is repellent. This creates a psychological phenomenon called emotional scarcity. When she realizes that you have a rich life, full of meaning, and that she is part of it, but not the absolute center, something changes. She starts to wonder, why doesn't he need me like I need him? And this question turns into obsession. Self-love isn't selfishness. It's the foundation of any healthy relationship. You can't love anyone in a healthy way if you don't love yourself first. And loving yourself means protecting your time, your energy, your dreams. It means understanding that being with you is a privilege, not an obligation. How many times have you lost yourself in someone? How many times have you abandoned who you were just to be accepted? How many times have you felt that you gave more than you received and still kept giving? This mentality also protects you. If she walks away, your life doesn't crumble. Your projects continue. Your friends continue. Your growth continues. You continue. And that, my friend, is power. Because the man who doesn't put the woman at the center of his world effortlessly becomes the center of her world. The power of calculated coldness. Few masculine attributes are as magnetic as the ability to remain calm when everyone around loses their head. Women observe much more than they listen. They aren't impressed with what you say, but with how you react when the pressure arrives. A man who explodes emotionally, who shows anxiety when she takes too long to respond, who gets upset in the face of provocations. This man screams insecurities without uttering a word. On the other hand, the one who maintains his composure, who responds in a controlled and thoughtful manner, exudes a silent strength that is extremely attractive. Calculated coldness doesn't mean being a robot without emotions. It means maintaining control over what you transmit. Even if something bothers you internally, you don't give away your vulnerabilities for free. You don't give her the power to destabilize you with a simple emotional test. This posture creates mystery. When she realizes that she can't predict your reactions, she feels the need to continue interacting to understand you. And this keeps the flame of curiosity lit. Because most men are an open book. You can read their insecurities on the first page. But you are different. The man who masters his emotions understands that reacting impulsively is giving power to the other person. By maintaining self-control, you become the center of the situation, regardless of what is happening. It's as if you were saying silently, "Nothing you do can destabilize me." This breaks the pattern. Most men react with an excess of emotion, whether to please, justify themselves, or defend themselves. When you don't follow this script, you differentiate yourself. And differentiation is attraction. In practice, this coldness manifests itself in small but powerful details, not responding immediately to provocations, avoiding long speeches to justify a decision, not showing despair when she walks away or creates emotional tests. It's like an experienced chess player who observes the opponent's move before moving his piece, not because he is undecided, but because he understands that each reaction needs to be thought out to maintain the advantage. This posture also protects your energy. When you stop reacting in an exaggerated way, you avoid emotionally draining yourself in useless discussions or emotional games. Over time, this stability becomes part of your identity and one of the pillars of your magnetism. Remember, in the field of attraction, calmness is interpreted as confidence. And confidence is, without a doubt, one of the purest and most powerful forms of seduction. Mystery and unpredictability. The human being is naturally attracted to what they don't fully understand. In seduction, excessive predictability kills interest because it removes the element of discovery. The rare man understands that revealing everything about himself right at the beginning is like giving away the ending of a movie before even halfway through. When there is no more mystery, there is no curiosity. And without curiosity, there is no lasting attraction. Mystery doesn't mean inventing stories or creating a false character. It means allowing your life, your motivations, even your emotions to be revealed gradually, like pages she needs to turn with patience. You don't need to talk about every detail of your day or justify every action you take. Small strategic silences, subtle changes in behavior, moments when you simply leave questions without direct answers. All of this is enough to create the feeling that there is much more to you than she can see. And this makes her restless, because the female mind hates gaps. She will try to fill them. And while she tries, she thinks about you. Unpredictability complements mystery. If every time she acts in a certain way, you respond in an identical way, the game becomes monotonous, altering the rhythm, surprising with unexpected gestures, changing the cadence of interactions. All of this keeps the emotional field dynamic. This doesn't mean being unstable or inconsistent. It means not falling into automatic patterns that can be anticipated. Because when she can completely predict you, you become routine. And routine kills desire. The ancient philosophers already understood the power of silence and introspection. They knew that not everything needs to be exposed, and that keeping certain perceptions to oneself strengthens the position of those who observe more than they speak. Applied to relationships, this principle makes the woman want to know more, but have to conquer these answers little by little. A practical example. Instead of talking about all your future plans right at the beginning, share only part of the vision and let her discover the rest over time. Or instead of responding to all messages instantly, maintain a rhythm that reflects your busy life and your greater purpose. The silent message is clear. You are a man with a rich and complex life who isn't available to be fully deciphered all at once. The mystery keeps her mind occupied. The unpredictability prevents this curiosity from settling down. Together, they form a cycle that keeps interest always high, transforming you into someone who isn't only desired, but impossible to forget. Mastering desire. One of the greatest signs of male strength isn't in the muscles, the tone of voice, or the words used, but in the way a man deals with his own desire. Many confuse attraction with need and end up transmitting physical and emotional neediness. The man who allows himself to be dominated by the urgency to satisfy his impulses loses control of the game and places himself in the position of the one who pursues, not the one who attracts. The ancients understood that true power comes from self-control. Every impulse can be tamed and redirected. In the field of seduction, this means not letting your sexual interest in a woman surpass respect for yourself and your purpose. When a man maintains his composure even in the face of strong attraction, he transmits a silent message. I don't depend on this to feel complete. This posture awakens something powerful because it reverses the game. Instead of you fighting for her validation, she is the one who starts seeking yours. Mastering sexual emotions doesn't mean rigidly repressing desires or becoming cold as stone. It means channeling this energy in a constructive way. It's taking this force and using it to improve your presence, your gaze, your posture, even the way you communicate. A firm and confident look can be more seductive than any impulsive gesture. Many men give away their value on a platter by showing haste or desperation to achieve a physical conquest. This conveys that your interest isn't in the woman as a person, but only in what she can offer momentarily. The woman perceives this energy, and this kills the enchantment. On the other hand, when you can slow down the pace and create tension, you build an environment where attraction grows organically, making each interaction more intense. The more you control your impulses, the more value you transmit. Mastery over desire also protects against manipulations. There are people who use sexuality as a tool of control, testing limits to see how far you're willing to go to get something. The man who masters his sexual emotions doesn't get carried away by provocations, nor does he trade his life's focus for fleeting moments. He remains firm because he understands that control over himself is more satisfying than any instant pleasure. This attitude creates a natural magnetism. The woman realizes that even desiring her, you don't lose your balance, and this is rare, because most succumb to their own impulses. Precisely for this reason, when you maintain this posture, she feels that she needs to conquer your surrender, and not the other way around. And this reversal of roles is what transforms superficial attraction into deep obsession, showing value without showing off. The most powerful seduction doesn't come from rehearsed words, expensive gifts, or exaggerated displays of status. It arises from the silent perception that you are a man with a full life, a defined purpose, and achievements that speak for themselves. The mistake of many is trying to convince the woman that they are valuable, when in reality, genuine value doesn't need to be announced. It is perceived naturally. The rare man doesn't seek approval. He understands that his value is rooted in what he builds every day. His discipline, his results, his ability to face challenges without being shaken. This creates a type of presence that is much more attractive than any attempt to impress. A woman may even be seduced by temporary appearances, but what really holds her is realizing that you are consistent, that your life is structured, and that she isn't the center of it all. Showing off too much, in addition to sounding like insecurity, destroys the mystery. When you give everything away at once, you lose the chance to spark curiosity. True value is revealed little by little, in subtle gestures, consistent attitudes, and visible results. For example, it isn't necessary to say that you are disciplined. This is shown when she notices your well-organized routine, your care for your body, your posture in business, or the way you remain calm in difficult situations. Insecure men feel the need to constantly validate their importance. They talk too much about achievements, tell stories to impress, exaggerate about past experiences. This creates the opposite effect. It conveys that without these affirmations, they may not have so much value after all. The dominant man, on the other hand, lets the world discover his value through observation, not through discourse. Building a life rich in purpose means investing time and energy in goals greater than simple romantic conquests. It's about having a project, a dream, a cause that occupies your mind and guides your actions. When the woman realizes that you are focused on something bigger, she naturally feels the desire to be part of that universe. She isn't attracted only by you, but by the world you have built around you. And here is a crucial point. Showing value without showing off doesn't mean hiding or minimizing your victories. It means presenting them naturally, as a consequence of your lifestyle. without the intention of obtaining applause. The more you live for your own growth, the more others, including women, begin to recognize your importance. The attraction that arises from this type of posture is deeper and more lasting. It isn't based on tricks or momentary strategies, but on the solid construction of who you are. And that is exactly why conquering isn't a forced act, but only the inevitable result of being a complete man. Creating emotional scarcity, constant presence, however pleasant it may be at the beginning, inevitably loses its impact over time. The human being tends to value what is rare, and the relationship between man and woman doesn't escape this rule. Always being available, ready to respond, meet, or satisfy every demand may seem like an act of affection, but in reality, it removes from you the magnetism of unpredictability and scarcity. The disciplined man understands that his life can't revolve around a single person, no matter how important she may be. His days are filled with meaningful activities, personal goals, and responsibilities that demand his attention. This naturally creates a space in which the woman realizes that you have your own world, independent of her. And it is exactly in this space that the desire to want to be more present in your life is born. When you are always within reach, she feels that she already has you completely. There is no urgency, no mystery, no reason to fight for your attention. That is why strategic absence becomes one of the most subtle and effective weapons to increase attraction. It's not about childish games, but about maintaining a life so well built that your schedule can't be molded solely to please another person. Creating scarcity also means not sharing everything all the time, avoiding excessive messages, not responding instantly, not always being available to go out. When your interactions are punctual but intense, they gain more meaning. She begins to associate your presence with special moments and not with something banal. Human psychology values what is perceived as difficult to achieve. A precious stone is valuable precisely because it is rare, not because it is displayed at all times. Similarly, a man who preserves his time and energy conveys that his life is precious, and this makes her want to be part of it in a more intense way. It is important to emphasize that creating scarcity isn't synonymous with negligence. It's not about ignoring, disrespecting, or creating unnecessary insecurities, but about understanding the power of controlled distance. Small intervals of absence make her mind keep you active in thought, fueling curiosity and anticipation for the next meeting or conversation. When you know how to balance presence and absence, you create a kind of emotional dance where each return of yours is valued. The rare man isn't a ghost that disappears, but he also isn't a shadow that follows every step. He is the sun that appears with strength at the right moment, leaving longing when it sets and renewing the desire for when it shines again. The trigger of loss. The human instinct is curious. Often we only realize the real value of something when we feel we are about to lose it. This applies to material goods, opportunities, and mainly to emotional connections. In the field of relationships, this psychological trigger is powerful, and the man who understands how to activate it subtly has an immense advantage. Making a woman feel that she is losing you doesn't mean acting hostile or creating unnecessary fights. It's about demonstrating, in a delicate way, that your life continues in motion, with or without her presence. It's about conveying, through consistent attitudes, that you aren't someone dependent or emotionally attached to the point of accepting any situation. When a woman realizes that your attention begins to shift to other areas, whether it's your work, hobbies, social circle, or new projects, an unconscious alert is triggered. This alert awakens the instinct of conquest, a need to regain the space that was once secure. It's as if the mind said, "He is escaping. I need to act to not lose him for good." The key here is subtlety. Abrupt changes or exaggerated behaviors sound like manipulation and can generate the opposite effect. The man who masters this principle uses small signs, being less available without giving long justifications, investing more in himself, appearing in situations where she realizes that other people also recognize his value. All of this awakens a sense of urgency and renewed attention. This strategic distancing shouldn't be based on wounded pride or childish games, but on the unwavering commitment to your own growth. By showing that you aren't emotionally attached to the point of neglecting your own life, you become more attractive. Scarcity, added to the real possibility of loss, amplifies the desire to be by your side. Another important issue is not verbalizing this detachment. It isn't necessary to say that she is losing space or that you are more distant. This needs to be felt, not declared. The strength is in the actions. Less availability, more focus on you, and a posture that demonstrates that you are fine with yourself, regardless of any circumstance. Deep down, this principle connects to a central truth. You should never depend emotionally on something or someone to the point of losing your center. When the woman realizes that to be in your life she needs to deserve that space, the dynamic changes completely. She stops being the only one to choose and starts wanting to conquer again what she already had. When well applied, this method transforms the perception she has of you. She stops seeing you as someone guaranteed and starts seeing you as someone who is too valuable to be lost. And it is exactly at this point that obsession is born, not for the game, but for the essence of a man who knows his own value and doesn't give it away for free. The posture of the unbreakable man. True seduction doesn't happen when you try to please. It happens when you stop trying. When you understand that you don't need to convince anyone of your value because your value is already consolidated in your actions, in your discipline, in the way you conduct your life without asking for approval. How many men do you know who change completely when they enter a relationship? Who abandon their principles, their friends, their routines, everything just to keep someone around? These men aren't respected because they have become too flexible. And what is too flexible breaks. The unbreakable man doesn't negotiate his values. He doesn't give up what he has built just because someone entered his life. He understands that if she can't fit into the life he has already built, then she isn't the right person, and he is at peace with that. This posture isn't arrogance, it's self-preservation. It's understanding that you spent years building who you are and that no one deserves to destroy that in months. It's knowing that your essence isn't for sale, and women respect that, because deep down, they don't want a man who bows down. They want a man who remains standing. The posture of the unbreakable man also means not reacting emotionally to tests. Women test. They have always tested. They will always test. They need to know if you are really who you say you are, or if it's just a facade. And these tests come in various forms: provocations, distancing, jealousy, dramas. The common man fails these tests because he reacts emotionally. He justifies himself, defends himself, begs, explains. The unbreakable man simply doesn't flinch because he knows who he is. And he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. This firmness creates respect, and respect is the basis of any lasting attraction. Without respect, there is no desire. There may be momentary interest, but not obsession. Obsession is born when she realizes that you are immune to the tactics that work with other men. Being unbreakable also means knowing when to leave. It means having the courage to end something that no longer serves you. It means not accepting disrespect, not accepting crumbs, not accepting being treated as a second option. And when you demonstrate this ability, something changes. She realizes that you aren't afraid to lose. And whoever isn't afraid to lose never really loses. Because the greatest loss is losing yourself in the process of trying to keep someone who doesn't value you. The awakening of the rare man. You have come this far. And if you have, it's because something inside you recognized these truths even before I spoke. Maybe you have already felt in your skin what happens when you erase yourself for someone. Maybe you have already been forgotten for being too available. Maybe you have already realized that the more you ran after her, the more she moved away. Now you know why. Because female attraction doesn't work like in the movies. It doesn't reward effort. It rewards presence. It rewards mystery. It rewards the man who doesn't beg, who doesn't bow down, who doesn't give up on himself. The rare man isn't perfect. He doesn't have all the answers, but he has something that most don't have: control over himself. He understands that his life can't depend on anyone, that his value isn't in the eyes of a woman, but in the way he sees himself when he is alone in front of the mirror. This man doesn't play games. He simply lives according to his principles. And by living like this, he becomes irresistible. Because rarity attracts, discipline attracts, silent strength attracts. And the woman who realizes this can't forget. She may even try. She may try to test you, provoke you, ignore you, but in the end, she comes back. Because men like you are rare. And what is rare is valuable. And what is valuable isn't forgotten. From now on, you have a choice. Continue being just another in the crowd of common men who beg for attention, or become the man that women pursue without understanding why. The choice is yours. But know that once you awaken to this truth, there is no going back. You will never be the same. If this content made sense to you, leave the word discipline in the comments. And if you want to continue this journey of transformation, subscribe to the channel now. Stay on the screen, because the next video is already appearing, and it will delve even deeper into what you have just learned. The power has always been inside you. You just needed to wake up. Now, go, and be the man you were born to be.